I mean fair, but I'm just talking hypothetically. That's what it says on the side of the box.
Haven't read it. Okay. Hi, we are, as you can tell,
We are the
Cinebeards.
CineBeards.
As you never would have guessed.
We are the CineBeards this
We're
week.
the contraception beards.
I like CineBeards.
I like neither
It
of
makes
those
it
things.
sound like-
I'm a
Jason,
big
can we
fan
do the
of those
Cinebeards?
beards.
Yeah, like, can't we just stay the CineBeards?
Okay, we can do that.
I don't...
Done. Greenlit.
Yeah.
The sex and the beards got you.
Fine.
I feel like I'm losing control here.
Jason, steer us
No,
back on
Control
course.
Markus,
is an
you just
illusion.
fucking do this episode, okay?
Control is an illusion.
Fine. Fine.
All right, Banksy.
I'll give you a bit of a backstory. So I was sitting in my shop.
Oh, what?
I was sitting in my store, which happens to be a record dealership mostly. That's what I do for a living. I don't know if I told you guys.
Have you gotten in contact with
You've
Guinness?
never mentioned it. I should buy some records from you.
You
sometime.
really should, and you should accidentally pay too much and then make me give you more records for no reason.
It's crazy how nature do that.
For no reason.
No reason.
The big brain, I'm winning again.
I was actually
so tell us
recently
about
watching
your-
Futurama. It holds up.
I know it does.
No
I watch
shit.
I watch it once
oh
a year.
yeah, like I recently rewatched Citizen Kane. That holds up.
It's okay. There's some holes, but for the most part.
For the most part.
So I was sitting there, I was going through some new product that I'd received. Product sounds like drugs.
That's street
Yeah.
for drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Some more
okay.
stock that I received, and I noticed,
That's a fancier term for drugs.
people drugs.
a record, the soundtrack of Shaft, as composed
Thank
by
you.
Isaac Hayes.
Shaft, baby, yeah.
Who's the private dude?
Famous
Gets all the
Scientologist.
chicks.
Famous
Really?
Scientologist, but more famously
Yeah.
soul and funk
Didn't you see
singer
those-
from
those-
the 70s and 80s.
The South Park episode where Chef returned,
Oh,
the Super
Yeah.
Adventure Club.
right.
Yeah.
It's coming back to me
But
now.
I thought the Adventure Club goes on hikes. No, that is. The Super Adventure Club has sex with children.
That's the Adventure Club. The Super.
So anyway, this episode, we're just gonna spin some yarns, have a good gab session, whack some jaws about...
Oh, so we're gonna have a sort of an unfocused,
That's
that's weird.
unstructured discussion.
Yeah,
That is a little bit off-brand
I
for
thought we could
us.
just like talk about movies that were scored by popular artists.
Okay.
Now this excludes people like Vangelis, who is primarily a composer.
Yeah.
Angelus.
Vangelis, even though
Angelic.
work out, even though Vangelis's work outside of film has gained popularity, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it also eliminates someone like Mark Mothersbaugh, who was from
Ah.
Devo but sort of transitioned to a more
Ha! Joke's on
composer
him.
role.
He doesn't get to be in our podcast.
So what's he gonna do now?
In fairness.
Oh no,
I
we're gonna get
was-
disliked.
I was really disappointed with his work on Disenchanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
obviously,
really disappointed
dir-
with most of
yeah,
Disenchanted.
Disenchanted has got some stuff, but yeah, like,
Oh fuck!
but yeah,
yes,
especially that
actually-
first episode, I was like, I mean, obviously, poor direction plays a role, but man, did that not fucking work.
No, that-
Okay, cool. So we do have a sort of a structure. We've got that
Yeah.
as sort of our focal point. Cool. The fucking wailing. How good was that?
The
Oh my
wailing
wall.
was so
Oh,
fucking hype.
man.
I have told everybody
Right,
I
told
know
us the
that
fucking-
just go watch the invitation and go watch the fucking wailing.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
The Wailing is a Korean horror.
It is
okay.
the big spooks.
It's like
Okay.
It is some of the most well acted and real feeling.
Yeah, the whole thing feels like you. This is gonna sound like a diss, but bear with me. Like, you know, sometimes you watch like a local cop drama or whatever, where it feels like they're just filming this at their local 7-Eleven or whatever.
Yes.
Like that kind of like intimate feel. But imagine that,
But feels
like,
good.
but good and cinematic.
and you like, again, to sound cheesy, but like you really are kind of experiencing it as it goes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it feels supernaturalistic. Like characters will just like.
They react the way humans would
Yeah,
react
like
to things.
they'll just like they'll be doing something and they'll like the one will just sort of slip and fall and someone will and it won't it has no point
No,
it just
there's
feels
no greater
like
meaning.
yeah it just feels like you're just watching this but it's not done in a like documentary style.
Okay, so it's got a very cinema verite feel to it.
Yeah, and it's
To use a fancy term.
yeah.
I know fancy terms.
Good job, Marcus.
Good job.
Yeah, so that and The Invitation were a good 1-2 punch, especially after Shazam.
Yeah.
Shazam, which was Shazam, which was that's the
Mizaj.
ethnically
Where-
correct.
Mazaz.
As you pointed out on the day, the dark and gritty parts of Shazam felt so much darker and grittier than
Yeah.
anything Snyder did because it
Because
had
it was
the rest of it to
juxtaposed.
play off of.
Yeah, and because it feels like it takes place like in the real world,
Yes.
and shit happens in the real, like bad shit, real life shit
Uncomfortable
happens.
Yeah, orphans get stabbed.
They do in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the real world. Have you watched Shazam yet?
No, I'm
Oh,
just
God.
assuming there's an orphan
I was
stabbing.
just about to spoiler the bit where Mark Hamill comes in and he's like the Joker.
Oh, man, that would have
man.
been such a
That
spoiler.
would
That
have been a
would be
huge
terrible.
spoiler.
Would have been a huge spoiler if I didn't already know he was actually playing. Cough, cough. The trickster. in Shazam.
No. Mark Hamill came in and played, but Troy Baker did the voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a classic.
Basically, Mark Hamill just like walked into frame, stood there for a good 20 seconds, and then told them to roll it again.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
smart. It was real good. Anyway, but yeah,
Smart.
Shazam, The Invitation, and The Wailing on one day.
Man, that was a good day.
Hot fucking damn.
And I was just gonna go home and cry.
Yeah. Damn, dude. Yeah, so I'm glad we've got this real, like, nice structured episode to work.
We are fucking nailing it this week. Just like last week.
Oh shit, we nearly forgot. We
What?
didn't interrupt Marcus when he was speaking.
Oh.
No, well, I deliberately, like, subverted.
You
I let him finish
And then
so
you
that I could
segued
instantly
him.
subvert what he did.
You could segue
Okay.
sandbag him.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's an advanced
that's good.
technique.
You gotta keep our listeners on their toes.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
So, well, I can already know Deon's probably going to talk about some of those films that were scored by Queen.
What?
Which films would those be, Deon?
Oh, it's the Flash and Highlander, Aubrey.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Highlander, the chase scene, where you can clearly see in the background the van with the camera guy sticking out the sunroof.
Really?
Yeah,
Love
very
it.
clearly, just sunroof camera guy.
Fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
I-
they scored the Flash.
Nice.
Yeah, well, Flash Gordon. They scored Flash Gordon.
I didn't know
but-
that, actually.
Yeah, they act like the actual score.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael Kamen scored Highlander, but they provided like a whole bunch of songs and
Yeah.
and musical stuff.
So it counts.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously,
Yeah, it counts.
It's not like Guardians of the Galaxy where like songs were randomly licensed.
Yes, it's not like that. Or like those god-awful jukebox musicals.
Is what?
Me?
Jukebox musicals like Rock of Ages, where they sort of take a
okay,
bunch
yeah.
of songs and try and write a story to incorporate blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that shit. Anyway,
It's garbage. Yeah,
and
hot
I know
garbage.
Thomas.
I didn't know there was a term for it.
Yeah, I know Thomas is going to probably talk about some kind of cyberpunky thing with
Oh, well,
robots.
I'd actually like to
And
talk
quite
about.
definitely
I'd
a
actually like
RZA
to.
movie.
I would like to, but just for 15 seconds,
Yeah.
just to get out of the way. I'd like to talk about Tron. Yeah, which,
The original. That wasn't scored by anyone of note.
oh, okay. I'm
Haha!
sorry.
I'm Tron Legacy! I beat you!
Oh no! Well, I mean, I
But-
don't feel like giving it its full title. I mean, like it's pretty much just like a footnote in history.
You wanna
So
talk-
yeah, like Daft Punk did some sort of Tron film. Cool. Moving on from
Yeah,
that
moving
garbage.
on. I want to know what Jason is.
Before we move on
about.
to Jason,
I don't know about anything.
and you want to talk about awful shit with Tron Legacy, did you ever see what the original logo for Tron Legacy was going to look like?
Yes, I did. Just pause here quickly.
Poop.
There, Deon is paused. I'm definitely editing all of this out.
Good.
Every little bit here is editing. I'm not leaving this in to buffer the length of this episode at all because I kind of feel like it's going to be a short episode because I did no research.
Hey, we've had
You
busy
never do
lives.
any fucking research,
I
Jason.
do a lot of
He
research.
never does any. The only guy that does research. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that logo. It was terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, right. It was
Oh, fucking
horrendous.
awful. Right, Jason.
Wow.
Yeah.
On to you.
Yeah, which movie are you going to talk about most?
Ghost Dog, Where the Samurai?
Why?
Where's fucking RZA? That's why.
I have no idea
That's why.
about anything you just said.
There's an awesome movie.
You could literally just have been speaking another language, and I would not have
I
known
think
the
it
difference.
was.
Well, not Latin though. You don't
Thomas,
understand.
as our local RZA expert.
It's a fucking hip hop.
Wait, okay, just fucking get what the what the fuck you just said?
Ghost Dog,
Okay.
Way of
Down
the
with that.
Samurai.
Yeah.
Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
Yes.
Colon, Way of the Samurai.
Okay, so I'm just to be clear, the way of the samurai historically involves ghost dogs. I didn't know that. I'm
Yes.
not a history
And
scientist.
Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm no history scientist, but that's news to me.
Seems legit.
Okay, cool. And the soundtrack was done by?
RZA.
RZA of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay, cool.
It is a hip hop group.
Yeah, no, I know who Wu-Tang Clan are.
They're very different to the people that did the trailer music for MK11. Basically, the opposite of that kind of hip hop.
Yeah, who was
Rhapsody of Fire.
Yes, they are the Rhapsody
I'm
of
pretty
Fire
sure
of hip hop.
Rhapsody of Fire is the exact. Like if you look at the color spectrum,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
over here you've got the MK11, and here you've got Rhapsody of Fire. So they're like, yeah, I mean, like actually you could probably put them together.
I suppose
In terms of color
Wu-Tang
theory,
is,
it would be like a pretty good contrast.
I suppose Wu-Tang
Yeah,
is the
no.
Rhapsody of Fire of hip hop. No, that would be Busta.
No.
Wu-Tang
They're
Clan
not
is-
fucking ridiculous and bordering on self-parody.
No, Wu-Tang Clan is the traveling
they?
They
Wolverines.
super are, dude.
Oh,
They
is it?
dude. They
I know-
absolutely
I
are.
only know sort of
Wu-Tang-
like incidental.
No, early Wu-Tang Clan is like the traveling Wolverines of hip-hop.
Oh, fucking A+ reference. Markus wins this episode.
Aw.
Oh, I guess that's it then.
So
Yeah.
we've been severe.
Interesting story. Do you know how the traveling Wolverines got their name?
No, I don't.
They were Wilburys and they
Okay,
traveled.
do you know who the traveling Wolverines are?
I don't. Please fill me
Okay,
in.
it's let me get the actual list of musicians.
It's a super group.
You know,
Yeah.
the funny thing about them is you don't know the band,
Okay.
You don't.
but you know
Every song.
every single song.
Really?
You
Every
do.
fucking song they ever did, you know.
You know.
I think they did
You
two
know.
albums. It was Roy
Yes.
Orbison and like.
Okay, I know who
Bob
Roy
Dylan
Orbison is and Bob Dylan is.
So and George Harrison.
I know who that is.
Yeah. Okay, the traveling
Guess I,
Super group.
I guess I do.
Wolverines. So yeah, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Roy Orbison, and Tom Petty.
Yes.
Okay, wow. I know who
Okay.
everyone in that is.
I
Exactly.
mean, of course you do.
I'm not a moron.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So like you will know probably basically every song.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Jesus Christ, watching all these guys jam together is just incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, like if you go listen to their songs, like you will know all of them. They
Yeah.
use them a lot in ads. Anyway,
Yeah.
their name is great because like George Harrison obviously had like a great sense of humor. You know, he bankrolled Life of Brian,
Yes.
for
No,
instance.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
And he and the other Beatles and a couple of
That's
other
cool.
like British musicians, they bailed out Holy Grail.
That I did know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
So
didn't know about
he
that.
actually George Harrison basically like they couldn't get funding for the film, and he and Eric Idle were good friends. You know, Eric Idle had a comedy band called the Ruttles, like which is like you know what Spinal Tap are,
Yes.
that kind of thing, but like a band
Not
like
heavy
which-
metal.
yeah, a better band that is like it's basically the Beatles. Like all their albums were like Beatle parody stuff, and they had like
Okay.
Beatle parody movies, and it was a full on like Spinal Tap, but multi-album. Eric Idle fronted
Yes,
like
that's a
Beatles
dedication to
yeah,
a guy.
yeah. So he and Eric Idle were very, very good friends, and like they couldn't get funding, and then Eric sort of spoke to him about it, and then George's like, how much money do you need? And he's like, well, I need X amount. It's like, okay, cool.
Check your bank account.
Yeah, cool. That you got it.
got
And
it.
he's like, Eric's like, why? He's like, because I want to see the movie. I want to be that rich one day.
That's great.
So yeah, that's really great. So George Harrison had a super good sense of humor, and when they were recording their first album, like they sort of was like a real fun like collaborative atmosphere and stuff. So like they'd occasionally be like sloppy takes of stuff, or there'd be some mess up in the guitar, and they'd always just say like, okay, cool, we'll bury it in the mix.
Yeah.
And they eventually became the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah. We'll
Ha!
bury it in the mix.
That's awesome.
That's such a cool story.
That is a great story.
Speaking of which, I do have a copy of.
This is all film related.
Yeah,
It's tangential.
definitely-
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
There are
tangential.
actually biopics or movies based on all of those musicians.
Holy shit, I think you're right, yeah. And I won't watch any of them.
Well, you really should watch.
The Bob Dylan one, I should.
Yeah.
watch.
Bob Dylan.
You really should watch that one. But yeah, I do have a very nice condition Volume 1 record, and I'm getting a Volume 3 in the week.
Fancy.
Oh, this is also a funny thing. After Roy Orbison passed away, they were going to make a Volume 2, but they got someone else on board. I can't remember who.
Can't remember offhand.
Another musician came in, and they just made the second album, Traveling Wilburys Volume 3.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, that's cool.
That still confuses people to this.
this-
Like
yeah.
when Chris and I had with Neil Skuma, we had a little side project called Chrome Shaft. We actually have like a whole album recorded that I've just never put out.
Isn't like
There's some
most
good
of it?
songs on there.
Yeah, there's some
Isn't
fucking good stuff.
Most of it's on SoundCloud, I think.
Some of it say, yeah.
Some of it's.
The full album, and we did a Judas Priest cover and everything. I wanted to release the album and call it Greatest Hits Volume 2.
That's awesome. That's fucking great.
why
Your
not?
debut album is
Yeah.
the greatest hits, but volume 2. Fucking awesome. Oh my god.
I'm still I want to re-record those tracks one day, like the good ones, and just put out Greatest Hits Volume 2.
I'll do some like low register guest vocals for you on some of them.
Yes, please. Oh god.
Brilliant.
Ah, okay, cool. So yeah, we're.
So, movies.
I feel
about
like we've pretty
songs.
much exhausted this topic now. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while in a really focused sort of way.
A whole 19 minutes. That's definitely like been all about the topic.
Yeah.
Why did you
Yeah.
go first, Marcus, to
Okay,
start
you go
us
first.
off?
Okay, fine. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll mention some ones that I found in my research.
And we
Okay.
will
And
throw
you-
in our 2 cents.
You
And
will
then
throw
you
in your
can tell us how
2
much you can
cents.
buy the album for yourself.
If and where applicable, I will.
Oh my god, yes. Please. do
Cross insemination. I think that's the term. Anyway, we can start off with.
I don't like
We can start off with a pretty famous film. Everyone's seen this, but people often forget who composed the score. That is The Princess Bride, whose score was composed by Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits.
Yeah.
I
Like,
didn't,
it's just
I
one of those
didn't-
things you.
I super didn't know that.
Yeah. What a thought
I
bucket.
really like that movie, and I did not.
It's
know
a
that.
fun movie.
It's a fun
really
movie,
good
and it's
movie.
got a good score, and it's just like you just don't never realize it's it's the dude from Dire Straits.
Yeah, that's great. Does Mark Knopfler actually in the film like use sort of Dire Straits songs at all?
No, it's like complete his own compositions.
Okay, so like more like classical.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's
score.
like
I can't
he-
actually remember the score at
No,
all.
he flexes more of his compositional, like just music writing muscle than just writing hit song after hit song for a rock band.
Yeah, because that doesn't stretch one's compositional muscles
No,
at all.
no, no,
I mean,
no.
you just
You
hit
could- you just
be a
you
hit.
just
Be a
hits
hit.
things on a
Yeah,
keyboard.
this guy's selling out. He's just saying like be a hit. Like he's just entering that, especially like in the 80s when like music computers became a thing. You could actually just type it in.
Yeah.
So you're basically not
Do
even
a
doing
good music.
Do a good
computer.
do good
Wow.
music. If brackets also don't do bad, enter.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you had like the whole command line prompt and everything.
Mm.
It was pretty. It was a good time for musicians.
I
Yeah.
mean,
But now,
How's
see,
the public
now you
call?
can just say, Alexa, do a dubstep,
and then,
do a dubstep hit
and then she will.
like Skrillex, yeah, and then you're like, you get a Grammy.
Skrillex music stops mosquitoes from reproducing.
It does.
I'm not surprised.
Also, he did score a movie. It's somewhere in this list.
Well, actually, Skrillex did a lot of sound design for the last, not Bumblebee, the Transformers film before that, Last Night, or was it the one before that?
No, it was the one where they also had the product
Dark of the
placement for
Moon.
Beats by Dre.
I think
Or
yeah,
whatever
Dark
it
of the
was.
Moon.
Yeah, that was
He
the,
actually
the
did-
China one.
The China one.
I find
Age of Extinct
There
Dino.
we
Oh
go.
yes. I find it really interesting that they brought in someone who is a musician to do the sound design for the film,
For the film.
not to contribute any.
Not to do any
anything to it.
music.
I love that. That says a lot because dubstep ultimately is like
Transformers transforming noises.
The joke was always that it sounds like Transformers fighting. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Will you come in and make actual noises for our Transformer? And
The master.
I loved the best thing about that movie was where you could see how they were just fucking around with the budget. Like they were just like, okay, cool. We don't have as much money as normal. We want to cut some corners. So like, let's just have them disintegrate into like nanobots or whatever that float through the air.
That is maybe the greatest we don't have any money thing ever.
There's like, this transforming sequence is expensive. How about we just fucking Thanos them and then we just reassemble them?
Oh, we forgot to talk about it, but apparently the next Transformers movie that's coming out, Transformers 6 or whatever.
Bumblebee.
Don't you mean
Transformers,
Bumblebee 2?
Bumblebee's Revenge. Yeah.
Bumblebee 2. Essentially,
Is that where Bumblebee's in World War II?
Yes.
Yeah, he time travels back in
When he
time and
fights
kills
Adolf Nazi
and kills the clock that kills Hitler.
Ooh.
Because that
That's
clock
why it's got that crack in it.
because that clock belonged to
yeah.
Mussolini.
There
That's what we don't know. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, no, it's gonna basically ignore the majority of the Bay Transformers.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were gonna say ignore
Ignore
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee.
I
I
was
was
so, oh no.
That is great news.
Yep.
And
it is.
Bumblebee, I guess, kind of fits in with our topic because Bumblebee's voice is all music. And ultimately, isn't the composer the
Inside
voice of the
us?
film?
Are you okay, Deon? Did you pull something stretching like that?
It was pretty good.
It was, but Jesus. Like,
that is a
I didn't know
stretch.
you were that limbo.
Wow, I got Thomas to be religious. That's like another.
that's how profound
He's
the
a
stretch
believer.
was.
Wow. Yeah.
Unbeliever.
You couldn't leave if you tried.
Yeah,
I'm not
I know.
talking about Shrek.
Speaking of Shrek,
No, I don't want to talk about
I wanna
Shrek.
talk- how many Shrek movies were there at the end?
7.
No.
No, there were 4. There were 4.
There were 4 released theatrically, but there are
4.
Yes,
Yes, Shrek
Which
was
was
the
the
fourth.
one where? Which was the one
Wait,
that?
no, wait.
Like,
What was the
which
number
was the
4
one
called?
where John
Happily
Cleese
Ever
KB?
After?
That was the third one.
Shrek 4 Ever After.
Fuck
was
off.
Was the
Yeah,
last
that was the
cinematically
title.
released one.
There were 4.
They were 4 of those
Shrek 2,
fucking
Shrek the Third,
abominations.
Shrek.
I was
Forever
like,
After,
there were
Forever
2.
After.
Oh no, wait, there was a third one.
No,
and now you're
sir,
telling me there were 4.
There were 4.
They were
theatrical.
the 4
Wow.
theatrically released. There's way more.
There's direct-to-home video
Yeah,
shit.
there's a shit ton of holiday specials and
Yeah. Of those, like the have you seen the Toy Story ones? Like the Toy Story like short films and stuff. They were like they're a bunch. They're super good.
I think I've
And all
seen
of
the
those,
ones.
it's Colin Hanks, not Tom
think-
Hanks.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the ones for Toy Story 2.
Well,
That were
Toy
Toy Story
Story
2
just
adjacent.
Toy Story like around Toy Story 3 and I think afterwards they released like a whole bunch of short films.
they did a Halloween one. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
That's the one I did see.
They were
What?
pretty
Was it
great.
like Michael Myers?
yes.
Yes.
Whoa.
There were a
That's
couple.
really
Yeah, they got
cool.
Jamie Lee Curtis to
Yeah.
like
That's so
to
great.
teleport. It was so
Yeah,
good.
they
I don't know how they
actually
did that
had a
in
little
CG.
Michael Myers action figure, like thinking he was Michael
Yeah,
Myers.
and he was like,
reenacting.
groovy baby,
Yeah.
and Jamie Lee Curtis was so spooked.
It's so weird that that's the like that murderer is the same person who voices Shrek.
It's amazing. Get out of my swamp, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's why the character's mute, because they just cut out all his dialogue, and he refused to redo it in ADR. He's like, no, the
Get
magic
out
was
of
on
my
set.
swamp, Jamie Lee Curtis!
Get out of my swamp,
Get
you
out of my
donkey.
swamp, Jamie Lee Curtis! Wow, we've gone off the rails
Yeah,
quickly.
but anyway,
Thomas.
sorry, there was a reason, because you said there was those, and what are the other ones that had? Mater's Tall Tales.
Yeah.
Those were pretty good. Those were really good as well. There's like a heavy metal one, which was pretty fun. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining stuff.
super good.
You know what was also entertaining?
What, a movie with the soundtrack?
Yes!
Most movies have soundtracks, Thomas.
Shut
That's
up,
not
Deon!
what this episode's about.
No, this is about movie scores.
Yeah, Thomas, freaking
High scores.
get on the right page here. Focus up,
Do you know how
Thomas.
off topic you are speaking about soundtracks when we try and talk about movie scores?
Jeez, that's pretty
So
embarrassing.
everyone here has seen Attack the Block, right?
Yes.
I've seen Attack of the Clones.
That was
That was Boyega's
Basement
debut.
Jacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you've told me about it. I haven't watched it.
It's Boyega's debut.
Yeah.
I refuse to watch it.
It's not very good.
No, I don't want to see him when he was still part of the First Order. Like, I like him now.
I don't know, I think it's important for his character growth.
It's a 6 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I just didn't. features Purs.
It does feature Purs, but it also
no.
features Nick Frost.
It does
Yeah.
feature Nick Frost and cool character designs for the monsters.
Yeah, it does. It's a fun and
Are we still talking about Hellboy?
yes. Hellboy.
Oh,
Hellboy
fucking-
4,
I
Attack
got
the Block.
the new Hellboy. This fucking piece of shit. Open Chrome.
Oh,
That's
and a
the
massive
thing.
spoiler.
Massive spoiler. Like right there. Possibly the only cool thing in this movie, and I was like, "Fuck you."
Oh, that's fucked.
Well, you don't have to suffer alone. You can tell me.
I'm not gonna fucking tell you because they're gonna hear.
Yeah. I don't
Make
know.
them cover their ears and say it like really succinctly
just
into
show
the
him.
microphone.
Why did you just show him? Why are we covering our ears?
No, we're talking about scores. We're gonna cover our ears
I'm gonna kill myself.
live on air.
Live on air will be the first podcast. It's gonna launch us into the stratosphere.
Snuff podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, please make us famous.
I'll do you. Oh.
Oh, come on!
Is it like big spoiler?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah. And it was
That was
those
page
3
one.
words. That's what the title of the article started with, and then
No
it was colon.
That's really just
Wow,
irresponsible writing.
that is terribly
I
irresponsible.
can't believe an
writing.
editor would actually. Well.
I actually kind of want to go watch Hellboy now, just so I can then hear what the article
Yeah,
said.
me too.
without-
Yes,
Make
I'm
sure to
angry.
bookmark it so that we know.
That's why I just typed it. On the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
just take this off in case someone.
Yeah.
sees. Anyway, yeah. Okay.
So Basement Jacks, really? Did they?
Yeah, they
They
did
did
the
the
full
score
score for Attack the Block.
It's a really cool score.
Well, I
also.
like Basement Jacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fair
Well,
enough.
you know how Hellboy just released this week?
Yeah.
It is 5th in Stoke and Caw's list of movies. Like, I went to go book for it. I was like, where do I find Hellboy? Oh, there it is.
I like that. I like that a film that only comes out in 2 weeks. It's like where about? Oh, and Dumbo. How fast Dumbo went into like the bin.
Yeah, well, it's a shit movie.
Yeah.
What? But hey, I'm gonna try and keep us.
Try, Marcus.
I'm gonna try super hard to keep us on topic
I believe
by
in
saying
you.
that I actually do have 2 Basement Jacks 12-inch singles
Keep
in
us-
my store.
Keep us on track by fucking peddling. Oh, that's pretty funny. If you type,
Hellboy is in 2D IMAX.
that's cool.
Obviously,
you-
they didn't put in the money to post-convert it to 3D. That's
If you-
expensive.
I got really confused now because if you, I know Dumbo's a bomb, but like I typed Dumbo box office into Google and it said 1.6 million US dollars. And I didn't click that it's the 1940s one. I was so confused. Like, wow, really bombed.
That's like student film money.
Yeah.
Who did the score for that one?
It's
Tim Burton, it's Danny
Elfman.
Danny
It
Elfman,
was
but it's a bunch of racist crows.
Danny Elfman was also a musician at one point.
Yeah, he was.
Boingo
action.
boingo.
Yeah.
Oingo boingo.
Very
Boingo
good band.
boingo.
It's such a.
Yeah,
That's almost
I've
as
heard of it, but
Yeah.
like,
that's almost as bad of a name as Bombularina. Did I say that right?
I don't.
I
I've
don't
never
know.
heard the word before,
I'm
so I
very
can't
happy
tell
to
you.
know. I'm very happy to note that Dumbo made less money globally than Infinity War cost to make.
Wow.
Wow. That is good.
Good job, Disney. How
So
the fuck did you drop that ball?
let's
They
move
got
on
a
a bit.
visionary.
they got the
director.
visionary imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the visionary imagination of creative wunderkids.
Who won't,
Tim LeBron James of cinema, Burton.
who won't cast black people in his film because they don't fit the aesthetic.
Please tell me that.
That is an actual quote.
Oh, what?
That's an actual quote from Tim Burton.
Is
For
he a
this
character
film.
written by Ian Fleming?
Like, for his movie. Like, he was once asked, why there's no black people ever in your movies? Oh, they don't fit with my particular aesthetic of directing.
So basically, his answer was just, I'm racist.
His answer.
I'm a real racist boy.
No, his answer was. Look, they just mix into the background because everything's black and white.
Ridley Scott said something similar. Like, he's like, yeah, I can't see myself casting someone with some surname Muhammad something or other.
Oh, that was with that Egypt, the
It's
Exodus
so
gods
hard
and kings.
to know, like, what these days, like, what's the onion and what's not. The world's gone
No,
fucking crazy.
dude, like...
Yeah, and for those of you that think this is an April Fool's joke, I can't make up shit this weird.
Can't make that shit up.
That is insane.
Like how US is going to aid 3 Mexican countries. That
Yeah.
was on something. Yeah. Anyway,
Music!
movies. Flash Gordon. Let's talk about Flash
Oh,
Gordon.
such a good movie, and it holds up so well.
Really,
and it's
I
got-
haven't watched it in.
Oh, it's
and it's got Brian Blessed. It is just
Yeah.
a joy of a film from
it
beginning to end.
is a masterpiece of camp.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it's just hamming it up
Yeah.
for days. It's so good. I love it.
Wow. New Metro has A Dog's Life above Hellboy.
Jason, we're not talking about Hellboy, we're talking about Flash Gordon.
I'm looking to see if I can book for Hellboy so I can see what Deon was talking about because I'm really curious now.
Yeah, Flash Gordon, like some of the tracks on there obviously not like the strongest work Queen ever did. They were on tour and they were busy doing Hot Space while they were having to score this, and like obviously like scoring for Hollywood is very
a
different
completely
to writing an
different beast.
album. Like
Yeah.
So I think they were caught off guard, but there are a couple of super cool tracks, and it all just works really. Like even the stuff that didn't work that great, like just as an album, because obviously you can buy the soundtrack album, like works just really well in the context of the film. It is fucking
I mean, the love
ridiculous.
theme.
I must rewatch.
Yeah.
I just love the way they use that.
And like
love
Brian May doing, by the way, this is what my wife walked down the aisle to, is Brian May's arrangement of the wedding march for like 20 electric guitars from Flash Gordon.
Who was she marrying?
Some dickhead composer.
Nice.
But you said your wife walked down the aisle.
Yeah, she's my now wife,
Yeah.
and she walked down the aisle too.
I don't know.
It seems thin.
This story.
Yeah,
seems
like
a
I'm
little
just
bit-
twisting myself up into pretzels. Okay, I killed him. I killed him and I buried him in the desert.
No, but seriously, like if you
Sunglasses.
have a chance to watch
I'm gonna
Flash
rewatch
Gordon,
it.
Yeah,
'Cause I
Flash
haven't-
Gordon, absolutely.
I was a
so
teenager when I
fun.
watched it, and I was like, eh.
I thought it was going to be one of those like historical curiosities or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
nah, it's great. It's
yeah,
super fun.
yeah, it's almost like the polar opposite of the live action He-Man movie. In the way
exists.
in the way
Did you
that
see the
it
guy they
holds up.
cast for the new He-Man?
No.
Is it Jason Momoa?
No.
Why
I'd
not?
almost
He's the
prefer-
only one that can't act.
I'd almost
Bullshit
prefer.
and big.
I'd actually prefer they just cast Dolph Lundgren again.
Yeah.
I have no connection to He-Man whatsoever, so I
I have a like vague cartoon.
I was
childhood
super
connection
into
to
it, but I mean like.
yeah,
no,
but you were born in the
He-Man.
70s.
Yeah.
He-Man. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, he was born in.
Noah?
We only got He-Man in the 90s, Jason.
Just close.
Actually,
Because of the embargoes against our country, because
they wouldn't open dialogues, we were just wanted to have a discussion
Why wouldn't they just talk to us
Why wouldn't they
civilly
just-
about oppressing the nation?
about oppressing the majority of the
And
population.
by the way, if any of my listeners want to buy the Flash Gordon soundtrack album, I do have it in store.
I'll ask my dad.
And tell us, Marcus, how much does that cost?
That one I think I've got it marked for like 100 rand.
I'll ask my dad if he wants.
That's a bargain.
It actually is.
I know.
Like anything Queen related for $100 or less is a fucking bargain. These days.
You got it,
Deon,
Deon?
did you find the thing?
Yeah, I did. I'm just double confirming because this does not look right. Like, I remember it looking ridiculous and like...
And now you seeing it again, it's
I'm seeing it
looking
again,
double ridiculous.
And you're like, no, this can't be. But it is.
oh, Jesus Christ, it is just...
just
That's your new He-Man.
He-Man.
Is it John Cena?
That would be a good casting.
There you go. Noah Centino.
Who the hell is that scrawny little cunt?
Fuck.
That is your new He-Man.
But he doesn't look anything like John Cena.
Fuck.
Yeah. But plus, I had a really good photo of him that actually sells the whole version. There we go. Yeah, here we go.
That was just a fake out. Now you're gonna sell us.
Yeah, here we go. It's the first three. You could just scroll to the right. It's the first three photos. I think all together convince me that this boy is He-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Just Thomas. You can just scroll to the right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that is the master of the universe.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that guy.
He has the power. Did I say that
Yeah.
right? Is that the thing?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's definitely the thing. Yep, that's him right there.
I'm a weird ghost dog with an O on my chest.
No, you're Jason. You're the host of CineBeards, the podcast. Christ.
Who's the weird ghost dog with an O on his chest?
Thomas.
I mean, I do have like a piece of my sternum missing, and it creates kind of a void.
What?
I'm pigeon chested, but like inverse.
Dude, that's hardcore.
I don't know what any of that is.
How do you not like? I've got a fucking piece of my sternum missing.
Yeah.
How was I supposed to know? You never walk around with your shirt off. That when they're around and the lights are on.
Basically, if you punch Thomas hard enough there, he can die.
Super die.
Well, I think if you punch anyone there hard enough, they
okay,
can
if you
die.
punch me there pretty soft, I'd probably die.
Yeah, like I could kill him
Is
right
it like
now.
the thing on the head where the baby?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Your chest is a baby skull? Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
pretty
hardcore.
metal.
You should play He-Man. Yeah, so Flash Gordon was great, and then there was obviously Highlander that Queen did 4 years
Yeah.
later.
Which was also.
Which is where like it's one of those-
Highlander, I have watched again recently.
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's
I
like
think it's pretty
it
good.
definitely has like
It has some problems.
it has
I
some
mean,
huge problems.
I mean,
some
a
horrifying
Scottish man
acting.
trying to be a Spaniard is
Some
like the
fucking
least of the
horrifying
problems.
acting and stuff. But there's just enough, and just that opening fucking thing with Princess of the Universe, like, and the music video, the actual music video for Princess of the Universe, where there's like that thing where Christopher Lambert comes out and Freddy's got his, his truncated
No,
mic
I
stand.
haven't seen it. But
Haven't you?
No.
It's such a fucking badass
Oh,
video.
it's so
And then
80s.
like,
Yawn.
it is the most 80s thing.
Yeah.
And then like Christopher Lambert comes out and he swings his sword at Freddie Mercury, who blocks it with his mic stand. It's like,
And then they have a duel.
That's so cool.
it's so fucking badass.
That is cool.
Anyway, that's the other thing. Like, it's one of those just like those classic things as a Queen fan. They just kind of have to live with. Everyone listens to Who Wants to Live Forever, and they're like, "Oh, it's so sad," Freddie Mercury writing about his AIDS. It's like, nah, bro.
bro, it's about
Brian,
Highlander.
Brian May wrote that in the back of a limo after watching a preview screening of Highlander. Like, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Everybody relax.
Yeah, it's about Connor
that's
and
not
his...
what Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, it's not what Bohemian Rhapsody says. Fuck that movie.
You know how many times I have to just explain to people why that movie is a piece of shit?
I'm really glad that I haven't had to explain it too many times.
Yeah, it's just like...
I have to.
I just tell people, it's like, just imagine the beginning of the film said, broadly inspired, vaguely, by the
Sort
fact
of.
that Freddie Mercury existed.
Tangentially.
Yeah. Somebody was told like a brief description of a bad telephone line.
Yeah, a couple of years back while drunk, and now they're making a film
So they're
out
gonna
of it.
hash it together quick.
So,
Yeah.
hey, Thomas,
Hey,
you
hey.
like westerns, right?
I have been known to watch them for fun.
Okay, fantastic.
Westerinos, as
You
we
are
like to call
As I call
familiar.
them in the biz.
I
Westy
assume then
Destiny.
you're familiar with the 2007 film "The Assassination of Jesse James"
By
by,
the coward.
Robert
Oh,
Ford.
so good, yeah.
That
good.
exceptionally slow movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
So slow burn, and one of the reasons
It just dies and the movie keeps going. What the fuck?
yeah, right?
Spoiler.
Sorry.
It's in the title.
But it could be a bait and switch.
Could be.
It could
That's
be.
a good subversion of tropes.
It could be, but
That's the right way
the,
to do it.
I'm gonna get you
Hate
every
you.
time.
the score for that was done by Nick Cave and Bad
And
Seeds
the Bad Seeds!
and
Oh,
his
nice.
bandmate of the Bad Seeds, Warren Ellis.
I really like Nick Cave a lot.
Yeah, Nick Cave. Good old murder ballads.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go rewatch that. Man, I'm gonna go rewatch all these movies now. Fucking
yeah,
awesome.
right. It makes you excited, and it just makes sense. I mean, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, their sound, it's just when you've watched a revisionist western like The Assassination of Jesse James, it's like the type of music you imagine, and then the director was just like, hey, why not I just get the guy?
I'll just get the guy.
I'll just get the guy to do it. It's like having Tom Waits do the score for something like Dr. Parnassus. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
I've never watched it.
He played the Satan in it.
The Satan.
The Satan, the devil.
It is I, the Satan.
The Dude Abides and Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Well, Jeremy Irons.
Hey, very nice. And Jason Momoa is also there.
Tearing books.
While Jason Momoa's?
No, Thomas, no. It's not a verb.
I think it is for him.
He's just an actor. That's just his surname.
I'll bet it is for him.
It means to go, woohoo! There we go.
Got it. What's next?
Does that mean then that Brie Larson Momoa'd more in
Yeah. Yeah, she
in
Momoa'd
Captain
hard.
Marvel
Yeah.
Than
Than
he
he
did
did.
in his own movie.
How fucking cool is that? Like, I've seen like the observation made, but I just love it. The whole thing that like, it's finally a superhero that's Shazam is the same. It's finally a superhero that's not like tortured by their powers or tormented or fighting against them or confused by them. She's just like, fuck yeah! And she
Well,
like,
I would argue
and she's just
that-
like fucking slamming into spaceships, and she's
Yeah.
having such a fucking no. Remember the whole time she was being sort of forced
Power
to.
limited.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm saying
right.
there is a relationship with her powers that is, as it starts, a little bit negative.
No, that's what I was gonna say, but that is because of
External forces.
toxic
not,
masculinity.
Not
Yeah.
internal
No,
That's
no,
that's
that's
because
what-
of
that-
toxic masculinity. Fight Club,
Yeah.
whose score was composed by legendary 90s producers, the Dust Brothers.
Who are they?
Not that legendary. Don't know who the fuck they are. And also, like,
They
are they
were
a
the guys that
band?
produced like the Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique,
Yeah, but they're producers.
Bix Odelay.
Who gives a shit about producers? I mean, all
Hanson
producers do
Mbop.
is make morons like me sound competent.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll skip that then.
It's like if
I
if
just
you
thought
found out
toxic
Joe
masculinity
did
was a
music.
good link to
It's a
Fight
good
Club.
segue.
Imagine Joe doing music. What would he call it? He'd probably name a band after like some kind of compressor or something. Like some kind of like all buttons in or something.
Oh, that'd be so silly.
Yeah, they'd be great though. In theory, if it were ever to happen.
If this was not a hypothetical discussion.
Oh,
Maybe
here's
I could play bass for them
here's
when they play
another
live.
one that came out during my research.
You're a
And this actually links to
Oh, I get it. Links, Nintendo, remaster, Ocarina of Time.
No.
On the Switch.
Robin
Yes!
Williams.
Yes.
No, what?
What?
No, that's not where
Yeah,
I'm
I
going
know.
with this. One of the trailers we spoke about last week, The Dead Don't Die,
I see you.
Yeah.
which was by director Jim Jarmusch.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. He also made another one that's a Western, Dead Man.
Never seen it.
Came out a couple of years
Pretty
ago.
on the nose for a Western. It's like, dead man. Man get killed. Man die.
Man die.
Man
die,
shoot
take
gun.
long time.
Man shoot gun. Boom boom.
Man shoot
Bang,
horses sometimes.
Also horses sometimes.
Um,
And then that like and then
that emoji.
Please enjoy.
make
Long.
watch. Make watch.
Long.
anyway, that
He just pulled a real Hans Zimmer there like
like I'm just kind of
Oh,
expecting
God.
everyone
I'm
to
sorry.
go.
That GIF, I'd never seen it before, and like I saw it the other day on Twitter for the first time. The GIF of Zack Snyder directing Henry Cavill to do the next
How to do the
snap.
next snap?
Have you seen that?
No.
Oh,
Bring it up
okay,
right now.
Okay. You carry on, Marcus. I'm gonna find this because Jason is gonna puke. Jason is just gonna
I'm
spontaneously
probably gonna
Dude,
love
that's fucking money. But like bad
Okay,
money. Okay, yes.
Distract
Like
me,
Batman.
Marcus.
So anyway,
Dead
that,
Man.
The Dead Man, the Western by Jim Jarmusch.
Okay.
Which
Which I will now watch because
Yeah, which you should watch. It's basically it deromanticizes and undercuts the tropes and cliches of the genre.
I'm keen.
It's
Who's
one
in
of those.
it? Who's in it?
I don't fucking know. I'll have to Google that.
Alright, okay.
But anyway, the
The researcher.
look, my research went as far
Okay,
as
fair enough.
the composers,
Fair enough.
and Dead Man's score was done by Neil Young.
I know that person.
Jesus Christ, this is even worse than I remember it being.
I know Neil Young. That's
No.
Yeah.
Jason,
Look at
no!
it.
Jason,
Look at it.
no.
Look at it, Jason.
No.
Look at
Jason.
this,
No.
Jason.
look
I
at this
wanna look at
actual,
this.
No.
this actual adult man directing someone on how to like
Oh,
break
no,
the neck,
I
which
lost
is
my
causing
glasses.
him, causing
Deon's
this emotional turmoil. Remember,
Yeah,
this is
I lost
like
my glasses.
I remember
it's
the
been
scene.
killing the
Don't
lost
worry,
vestiges
Jason. This
of
will
his
cut through your
civilization.
lack of vision and imprint itself on your brain for all time.
My eyes are so, I can barely read the word Yamaha.
kind of gangster rapper.
It's his Mitsubishi.
Oh no! He's like, bam!
Look at it,
Hey,
Jason.
Look at it. It's like gang signs and everything.
And you can
You almost expect the sound to just go, whoa, west side.
Look how much fun he's having. He's like, yeah, it's fucking cool.
His fucking head comes off.
They put it back in post
Yeah.
after Henry Cavill actually ripped his head off.
Henry Cavill
It was
killed
so
a man
awkward.
on set. It's the sound of a man's soul dying.
This is
He's so dejected.
Yeah, no, you guys are finishing this one without me. I'm done.
Don't take it to the bar, Jason. No.
Don't take it to the bathroom, Jason.
Jason, why? No.
But what if I start talking about a modern Scorsese movie? Will that bring you back?
No, of course it wouldn't.
Nothing can bring me back. I'm dead.
Yeah, dead like that next now.
Fuck all films.
That's fair.
But
Okay,
So yeah, for those of you who are curious, just fucking Google
to CineBeards' Twitter.
Zack Snyder neck snap gif.
yeah.
It's not what you're hoping it is.
no. It's not.
It's
All right,
not.
Scorsese.
So Scorsese,
Score cheese.
yeah, Scorcheese. You guys remember his the one religious movie he made a couple of years ago?
The
Which?
Departed.
No, the one
Annihilation.
all close.
The
The
last,
annihilation of Christians.
The Last Jedi.
the last temptation of Jesus Christ the Jedi, which is often abbreviated to just
Mad
the
Max.
last. Yeah, the last temptation of Christ.
Oh, did he do Thunderdome?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's
Okay.
big Lord Humongous.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
With
the
Tina
Jesus.
Turner as God. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So the last temptation
of
of
streets.
Christ was scored by Peter Gabriel. And doesn't that just sound?
Why?
I don't know. It just sounds
Oh,
appropriate though.
are you saying why did he score the film, or just like Peter Gabriel :
Yeah, Peter
why?
Gabriel : Y.
Yeah. Pretty much.
To be fair, that
To be fair, the thing is, like, one day when God, like, when he's finished with this experiment of his and he has to document it all and he has to actually, like, write it down, like, as a narrative, like the history of the world, that's what he's just gonna call it. Peter Gabriel : why?
That's a strong opener for like
So- so-
hypothesis.
That
Yeah.
just sets it all
That just sounds like
up.
Harvard Kalufit's trilogy of books. Where God went wrong, more of God's greatest blunders, and
who is this God person anyway?
What is that from?
Hitchhikers.
It's like his guy.
Oh fuck. Okay, sorry. I sort of pictured as a sort of Polo Kulo, or however you pronounce his name, type writer in the real world, and I was very puzzled now.
How's this gonna tie together?
Yeah, well, yo. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Kansas City shuffle. But no, Peter
Jason is
Gabriel.
just-
Yeah, he's
Jason's
just literally out.
Dejected.
I mean, the last temptation of Christ. I mean, this is when Peter Gabriel was more focused
I
on.
don't think I've seen that either.
It's more focused on his Genesis
Jenna Maroney.
era
Oh.
of musicality, and not the the solo.
More Genesis, less genocide.
Yes,
More Genesis, less Revelations.
exactly. Because
Nice.
but I didn't actually know this one, but it's even though I mentioned Mark Mothersbaugh wasn't eligible,
count.
it doesn't count. But he did score the Royal Tenenbaums.
Ah, what? That's cool. I'm gonna go rewatch that.
Yeah, I want to rewatch it too because I just love that fucking movie so much.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think it's my favorite Wes Anderson. I know it's not his best, but it's my favorite.
Yeah,
okay.
yep, that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
like my favorite is Life Aquatic, but I think that's
It's like my favorite CineBeard is Thomas. He's not the best.
Yeah, because
my favorite.
objectively, Jason, who died for the podcast, is the best.
Yeah,
Cinebeard.
for sure.
sometimes I think
He's
that
our
he's still
martyr.
here with us.
Yeah, it feels like
Sometimes I can even hear him.
Yeah,
hear
I
his
can hear his
laughter on the wind.
Yeah. Can you paint with all the laughter on the wind?
No,
No,
you can't do that.
I'm not.
You can't even.
Okay.
Yeah, wind doesn't even have colors, so I don't even know. I don't know.
Windmills cause noise cancer.
Hey, another Fincher film,
What?
The Social Network.
With
Oh,
Trent
yeah!
Reznor.
Yeah.
That's such a good one.
That is a really, really intense soundtrack.
I haven't
actually.
even seen the film, but I have listened to the soundtrack.
The film is pretty good.
Yeah,
if you just imagine like, this is Jesse Eisenberg,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Also, it strangely works with Trent Reznor's intensity and the way Fincher shoots dialogue. You know, it just sort of.
Yeah, I think it
works.
makes everything way more intense. Like, there's one part where there's just like a rowing boat race, and just Trent Reznor's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, is there a monster?
It's like
in the ocean?
it's like you expect they're on the rowboat, and you kind of expect like 9/11 or something to happen because of his
The
score.
9/11 of rowboats.
Yeah. Rowboat 9/11. Look it up. It actually happened.
Reminds me of that interview with Donald Trump that surfaced now, just after 9/11, where his reaction to it was to boast about the fact that he now owns the tallest building in the city.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I'm dead fucking serious.
Wow.
And the worst thing is, like, because of the shit he pulls on a daily basis, that's
Doesn't
barely
even-
a blip on the
It
radar.
doesn't even register anymore.
But like, literally, his reaction on, like, when talking on the radio was like to just boast about, like, oh, cool, he's got the tallest building in the city now.
What a cool guy. That's the
Dope.
president. That's the president.
That's the actual president. America, what's wrong with you? What you doing?
America, what happened?
What happened, America?
What happened? What happened?
What happened?
What happened is like, here's one I'm gonna rewatch again just because it's. How long is it? A 1.5 or almost 2 hour long music video?
What are we talking about?
We're talking about Tron Legacy.
I want to talk about Tron Legacy.
Talk about Tron
Tom,
Legacy.
let's talk about Tron Legacy for a
Tron
while.
Legacy
Could you bring
is-
us? Could you focus us again?
I
please?
will
It feels
try
like Markus
with
is
all
doing
my power.
everything in his
I will
power
focus
to.
But my
us
powers
on
are
Tron Legacy.
weak compared to Thomas's.
Tron Legacy, fucking fantastic sequel. Well, as good as it could be, I suppose. And, you know, obviously they had old Daft Punk doing the soundtrack, but it almost didn't happen, which is really unlucky because apparently while they were, you know, putting it all together,
Because they almost uninvented synthesizers.
almost because they're French. No, the producers were originally trying quite hectically to get hold of them, but they were busy touring, and they just never ever got in touch with them. So they almost just got a normal composer to do the soundtrack.
Yeah, a normal
and the
composer.
well, normal
I know what you
composer
mean.
in
I know
terms
what you mean.
of cinema.
A cinematic
And apparently
composer.
the director was like, no, I can't do it without them, sort of thing. So that was really great. And then we got that fucking soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
Fucking
like
love that
Markus
sound-
said,
I haven't seen the film, but I've listened to that soundtrack.
You haven't
a
seen
whole
Tron
bunch.
Legacy.
Why do I need to? I've got the soundtrack.
you've got the soundtrack.
No, but you need to watch the music video because it's great.
Yeah, I would absolutely argue. Watch
I
the
would
music
only
video-
want to
No,
watch it if it had a young Jeff Bridges.
Well,
does.
Deon, let me blow your mind. It does. So it's got one of the sexiest shots ever in film history. It's
So
got
wait, they
young
actually-
Jeff Bridges, current Jeff Bridges, and Olivia Wilde in the same scene.
So how did they get Samuel L. Jackson to be in that?
What did
He's in the background.
No, he's
did
the
I
young
just
Jeff
hear the
Bridges.
ghost of Jason again?
Yeah, I hear him on the wind every now and then.
Sometimes I feel like he's here with us.
I do. Kind of sucks.
Can't believe that. I can't
I feel so much.
believe
This
that.
podcast just feels like it's going so much better. I don't know why. Something
Yeah.
in the dynamic has just shifted. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, but seriously, Dylan, you need to watch
the
Yeah,
music
Tron
video.
Legacy.
I will.
Watch it, if not for young Jeff Bridges and old Jeff Bridges, watch for Michael Sheen's performance as Caster.
Oh, I thought he was
I
going to be one of the
I
bikes.
forgot Michael Sheen.
Yeah, no, he plays a character, and his performance is
I thought he would be a laser
Mm-hmm.
bike.
Also the light cycle race sequence in Tron Legacy is
the
pretty
whole,
baller.
The whole Colosseum.
Because I've listened to the soundtrack and I've watched the South Park episode that parodies it,
Hey,
but I haven't actually watched that music video.
really watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot. It's long for a music video. Like,
It's alright. I mean, they used to do ones almost that long back in the 80s, like Michael Jackson. Some of his were pretty long, so I guess it's just natural
yeah.
continuation of that.
But it's my two favorite tracks on the soundtrack are Derezed, obviously,
I don't know the names.
and the final one, the credits one.
Yeah.
The final one, the credits one.
Yeah.
It's a super awkward name. For
I know,
it.
but you know
quite close to what it's called.
they're
Yeah.
French, so
Yeah, that's true.
And the
I
robots.
thought you were gonna say like that.
Good
you
job,
know, like they
Spirit
almost
Jason.
didn't do it because like the director didn't want baguettes on set or something, and there was like
Well, they-
no.
that is exactly what what is his name? Christian de la Homme or something. That's what he sounds like.
Yeah. Just
Leno.
the no. It's just a normal accent, but with the l in front of the. Shit, I had a really good point, but I forgot it.
Well, with Derez, my second favorite track on the album, they actually released it as a single separately, and it went gold. It sold 500,000 copies or something.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
This was when they still sold physical copies of media.
yeah,
This
back
was in
the
2010.
day.
Like on Spotify.
No,
No, like in you could go into a
hold
store.
it in your hand
Oh, you could go stream it in the store.
No. You could
No.
go to a store and walk out
with a circular disc,
with a circular disc that was kind of shiny, almost had a mirror coat to the back.
and then you could throw it at homeless people.
But like, isn't there some place where I can still do that? But preferably with like bigger discs, maybe even older.
Yes, there is.
But you need a lantern to go down.
Yes, there
that
is. But
wormhole.
seriously, you should just never come to my store because you will not want to leave.
Yeah.
Or you'll just spend way too much money.
Or both.
By mistake.
No, not even by mistake. You'll just
Deliberately.
Deliberately. Watch the Tron Legacy music,
Yeah,
I
watch
will.
the Tron
I will.
Legacy music video.
and don't watch Queen of the Damned.
Never
Oh,
watched Queen of
shit.
the
No,
Damned.
I watched that when it came out. I was like, this is garbage. I was just like,
you
this...
know, like your story when you were talking about Turtles 3.
Yeah.
That was mine. That was my moment of this is a shit film, because like I was watching it, you know, the young spooky nerd that Thomas was. Obviously, I've got to watch vampire movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That are,
obviously, it's
that are
part of your
filled
persona.
with David Drummond songs.
Yeah.
And you know they did a lot of original stuff for the soundtrack, and it's all that, and it's fucking atrocious. And I remember watching it with other young spooky nerds, and they were all like, "Yeah," and I was like, "No."
Oh. I almost wished they
And then the
stayed.
actress died.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaliyah. I
And everyone
actually
was like, oh my god, she was so incredible. It's like,
No.
no, she wasn't.
No.
Anyway, I almost wish they had just stuck to the time period of the book for Queen of the Damned, because
there was a book?
there was a book.
Written by a human.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the book at all?
No, which is why I said there was a book.
Yeah, there was a book by Anne Rice. Basically, Lestat does become a rock star and everything, but at the height. But
Sorry, I just like that is the most exhausting fucking.
look, it's
thing.
gonna get better.
Oh,
No, it does. It gets a little bit.
It gets
I'm
better.
gonna watch the Zack Snyder clip to distract myself.
No, Deon, it legitimately gets better. Like
Yeah,
I'm not joshing it.
to.
Yeah.
Starting
World
at
War
the
II
height,
happens. Phew.
at the height,
Thank goodness the bubonic plague is here to save us.
at the height of 80s glam metal in Los Angeles.
Still too.
No, I would prefer that to the fucking
I don't remember the full-
self-serious,
Yeah.
fucking indulgent bullshit
Like,
of the
in the book-
tortured nature.
Like in the
of
book, imagine
awfulness.
like Lestat almost does become a self-parody in that. You know how Michael Starr of Steel Panther is?
Yeah.
Like that.
The thing is, the problem that I have with that is like, obviously he's gonna become a rock star, but he's gonna have to pay his dues. So it's gonna be like, cool, we're booking you for this festival. Great. He's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be so great. It's gonna be so great. But then he's on at like 2 p.m. because he doesn't have a great slot because he still has to work his fucking way up. What's he gonna do?
What's he gonna do?
He's gonna complain a whole chapter about how
In
giant
the-
cell phones are. That's a thing that happens in the book.
In the movie, they hold the concert in Death Valley at night.
In the book, it's also in Death Valley, but it's one of the famous like California music festivals.
No, this is just in Death Valley. There's oil drum fires. I remember it very well.
I remember none of this.
It's the fucking worst.
It is-
That shit is repugnant.
It is the worst. It's almost as bad as
It
how
would,
this
do you know,
podcast
it's
is
so
ending
it's so
up.
bad that
Hey,
it would
guys,
bring
this podcast seems to be
Jason back to
running
life.
super well, so I thought I'd come back from the dead.
Jason
and
resurrected himself.
Yeah.
and
Jesus.
disrupt it a little bit.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Thanks
So-
for listening.
Thank you for listening. That
this
was super focused.
rambly, I think.
Jason
Yeah, I
didn't
think
talk about Ghost Dog. Jason talked about Ghost Dog.
Marcus seemed to have a lot of trouble
Coward.
staying focused in this one.
Yeah, I know. It's really
This
hard.
happens every time we let Marcus start a sentence.
Yeah, he just fucking derails everything.
Jesus.
Okay, now we do need to touch on RZA.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Samurai.
clearly I should never have come back. I
Like I shit
apologize.
it was going so well.
I really
Ghost
enjoyed RZA's work on The Man with the Iron Fists.
I do too.
Which he
as
directed and scored.
as shitty and cheesy
started.
as it was, I
Oh, it was,
did.
but
That's cool.
but you
Directed
had
and
the cool
scored.
yeah,
Didn't see
and
that a lot.
acted and starred. Also,
Cool.
he plays
The man with the
blacksmith.
iron fists.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a like.
you get fun
the film
Russell
itself
Crowe.
is below average.
Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. But you do get fun Russell Crowe.
You
Where he
get-
knows
you
he-
get weird Russell Crowe.
No, but you get Russell Crowe having fun because he knows the movie isn't that good, so he just cuts loose. It's great, but the score is
It's like during the production of Iron Man, where oh my Christ, what's the actor's name? The antagonist?
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, it's old Jeff Bridges, so I'm
Yeah,
not
bald
interested in
Jeff
it.
Bridges.
Yeah, bald with
Bald.
B-O-L-D. Yeah. Where he was talking about the process when they were making it. And like what an absolute clusterfuck it was, because like the script was just like in shambles. And so basically the writers Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. would basically sit around when they should have been filming, and they were just sitting in trailers like writing the movie as they went along, and then it would get sent off to like Marvel. And like it would like come back, and the Marvel guys would be like, "Well, you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do that." And he was so like angry and stressed and just generally unhappy. And then I can't remember who it was that said to him, but they said like, "Hey, you're busy making a $200 million student film. Enjoy it." And apparently like that sort of that like
That just clicked for him.
that just like super clicked, and then he just had the best fucking time making it, because they were just, it was like a $200 million film, but you get to like throw ideas around and like plot points and dialogue and shit, and just like
all very
you write it in the
collaborative.
trailer, go out onto your huge fancy set, and then film it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's pretty much the dream.
It is the dream.
The Breen.
No. What's also
Now
the
that's
dream is ending this podcast on a high note, but that's never going to happen. So.
That's impressive.
Krabbies.
Fuck.